Hello everybody, my name is Starrapter and welcome to the channel. It's time to review some comics and it's going to be a busy day today because we have 4 comics that came out this week. First, we're going to talk about the High Republic comics. So first off, it is Marvel's Star Wars The High Republic, issue number 2. There is no fear, chapter 2, Tomb in Space. So in this, we are now past the events of the opening ceremony of Starlight Beacon. The great disaster is behind us, and we have Keeve Travis, who has just been promoted to Jedi Knight. She is aboard this ship with her previous master Sskeer, as well as these 2 new characters. Their names are Starrapter and Tarek, and they go to this distress signal that got let off. And, you know, the Starlight Beacon is able to enhance signals and also receive them. So they go out to respond to this emergency beacon. Everybody on this ship is dead, including a big old hut. And huts aren't supposed to be in this Republic space, and the huts are a big thing back then, 200 years before the events of the Phantom Menace, where the High Republic is. And well, next thing you know, there's lots of gas, and that is the telltale sign when you have gas in this chambered room that the Nihil are coming for you. And well, there's a Nihil warrior that tries to get the jump on Sskeer, and even with one arm, Sskeer is able to chop this guy in half and starts hacking him to pieces, and he goes berserk because at the last part of issue number 1, we see he's screaming. There's something seriously wrong with Sskeer, and obviously that's amped up to the 11th degree when we see him hacking his body apart that is clearly dead already, and Keeve Travis sees this and is questioning him. So we also find that there are these little seeds on this station, and they trace them to be the precursor of Bacta, which is a brand new advancement for the Republic 20 years before the Phantom Menace. So that is their next mission. They're going to go to this planet that has this seed that originated from there. And well, we see that the character of Tarek gets assaulted in the fields by this plant-like vine. And that is when we get the ending of this issue. So lots went on in this issue, but it's just a normal issue, but it seemed like a lot happened, a lot bigger than a normal issue, right? And well, what I will say is, first off, I want to focus on the characters of Sarah and Tarek. They are these twins, and their minds are basically linked. Their brains are linked, so they're able to finish each other's sentences. Even if they are far apart, like in different solar systems, they're still able to actually communicate and feel with one another. So if one gets hurt, the other feels it. Very interesting characters here. They are called the Katabi. I don't know if that's a species or if that's their last name. I don't know, but I think it's a really cool plot device and a really cool storytelling element because you're able to have, the character of Keeve Travis with Sarah, and then Tarek is paired up with Sskeer. And it's really neat seeing those characters communicate in that regard. This issue was incredibly violent. I like the more mature edge that this comic series is clearly leaning towards. Very dark, very dreary. The artwork by Ario Anandito is excellent. It really adds that atmospheric kind of gloominess. They're exploring this station with all these dead bodies. It's something that really feels a little bit different for Star Wars for sure. Just awesome connectivity. We have Vernestra Rowe, who is from A Test of Courage, helping out Avar Kriss, who is now the Marshal of Starlight Beacon, and she's helping out investigating. So very cool ending to this issue. I'm very much looking forward to issue number 3 coming out next month. Also out this week, we have a brand new High Republic series starting from IDW. This one is called The High Republic Adventures, issue number 1, and this one is specifically called Collision Course. So this is set kind of during the events of all the other books that open up everything in the High Republic. So we are set during the Great Disaster. We have a bunch of pupils aboard a ship with Master Yoda. Yes, Master Yoda is in this, and they're aboard the Starrapter just learning about the galaxy. And next thing you know, they get drawn into a distress beacon because an emergence from the Legacy Run, one of the pieces of wreckage, has gone down to this planet, and it's up to the Jedi to save them, and it's their first mission. So they are very anxious. We have the lead character here. Her name is Lula Talasola, and she's also has a bunch of buddies. So they're going on these speeders. They're going to go try to help these people. And down on the surface of this planet, we have a character named Zeen Mrala. And she's very interesting because she's a character that is kind of traveling all over the galaxy to wherever this elder guy is, because she doesn't really have parents. The kind of culture that they live in, it doesn't really have parents. They just kind of travel all over. And she knows that she has the Force, or at least something's different about her, but she doesn't know how to capitalize it on it. She's scared of using that power, and it's because of the Great Disaster and because of what happens with Lula Talasola that she ends up using this power. Because what happens is the Jedi from the Starhopper, Yoda sends them out in these speeders to go save these people however they can. And well, guess who shows up on this planet? None other than the pirate raiding scum known as the Nihil. And they are causing problems. They want to extract this elder guy and nobody else. And everybody is trying, all these civilians have death raining down on them. And it's up to the Jedi pupils, the Padawans, to try to save these people. So they try to get them aboard this Nihil ship. And that is when Zeen Mrala kind of intervenes and helps save a bunch of innocent people from dying, because she's able to like use the Force to stop this rock from hitting the ground. And in doing so, her best friend Crix was taken captive aboard the Nihil ship. And then that's when Marchion Ro comes out and just says, kill all the Jedi. And this is the character that was from Light of the Jedi, the big antagonist in that story. So really cool seeing a link, again, to more stories in the High Republic. We're seeing right before our eyes the amount of connectivity that is really drawing this era apart from anything else in the Star Wars continuity. And it is really cool to see that. I will say I love the color palette of this one. Everything was just so brightly colored. The artwork is just really good. It's something that I didn't expect from IDW. I will say that, right? IDW has been all fun and games, but this one got a little serious. We're learning about the Force. We're learning about maybe these characters having a connection. I'm already thinking in my head, maybe there's a dyad between Lula Talasola and Zeen Mrala, because we're seeing split screens of their characters' faces put together, and it seems like they both have their own journey, and in this first issue they meet each other. And I think that's going to lead to something very cool. But yeah, this is probably the best thing I've seen from IDW, and we will talk a little bit more about IDW comics in just a few minutes. But very happy with the High Republic Adventures issue #1. And for more on both of these stories, I'm going to have more of a deep dive into both of these stories in their own separate videos. So make sure if you want to know more about the High Republic, you stay locked on the channel, because I will be talking more about that in the future. Going to Star Wars flagship series, we have issue #11. So this brings us to Operation Starlight Part 3, where we have a bunch of the Starlight Squadron pilots. They are going out, they are trying to get intel, and they get captured basically by the Star Destroyer. They destroyed their droids, so they can't get the information out. So they're kind of stranded because now their navigation is gone. They can't really go to hyperspace, right? Only the A-Wings can, but they're not going to leave their friends behind. So the X-Wings and the A-Wings, there's a total of, I believe, 6 fighters. They have the grand plan to try to go on the Star Destroyer to get their astromech droids to then get out of there and link all their targeting, navigation, and get out of there in hyperspace. And well, this is a really high flying action adventure issue that I enjoyed, because we see characters from all different mediums in Star Wars. We have Lula from the Poe Dameron series in Shattered Empire. Of course, we have Charbet, who is Poe Dameron's mother. We have Frita, who is his Twi'lek, which I don't believe showed up in anything else. We have Mart Matin, who is basically the reverse of Matt Martin, the story group guy, but he's also in Star Wars Rebels. We have Wedge Antilles in this one. He's taking a break from Rogue Squadron after what happened in Empire Strikes Back. And, of course, we have Evan Verleen, who is from the first Leia miniseries, going all the way back in 2015. So they're pulling a deep cut for us on that character. And I just like seeing all these characters work together. We have 4 X-Wings, we have 2 A-Wings, and they're going after a Star Destroyer, destroying its tractor beams to get into the hangar to steal the droid. And you see, like, Wedge, he's on foot with his blaster going at it. We don't see a whole lot of that, but I love seeing the nature of the Rebel pilots being so able-bodied to just not only fly well, but to also fight well on the ground. I want to see more action like that, and I think it's really cool. But we also have this other story that is taking place on the Rebel fleet. Now, remember, they can't really send out communications, because if they do, Commander Zara of the Empire will trace those communications, because she cracked their communication code. So the whole crux of the story is for the Rebel Alliance to find this old ancient droid that has a certain language, Trebek or something like that, that the Empire does not have codes for. And now they are cracking that droid with the help of Lobot, who is a high droid apparently, or hybrid or whatever they call him. But the problem is, to get this code, it is slowly killing Lobot because it's using his processing power, and he's slowly dying because of it. So we have this big fight between Lando Calrissian and the father of Poe Dameron, Kes Dameron. Kes Dameron wants to get this droid's every little drop of information so he can send a signal to Shar Bay and get her out of there. But then you have Lando who's saying, Lobot is my best friend, basically. You're killing him right before my eyes. We got to stop this droid from doing this. And Leia is in the middle, and Leia is the mediator, and she has to figure out what's best, and she's doing what's good for the greater good, and she goes with Kes Dameron on it. And there's this whole big to-do, but apparently C-3PO saved the day because C-3PO was able to trick this ancient droid into giving him all the information. So now that C-3PO actually has a translation, everything goes good. But the aftermath of what happens in this confrontation is that Lando is now disillusioned by the Rebel Alliance, saying that they're not going to stick up for me. They're not helping the layman, right? So he actually is in talks with Jabba the Hutt, with Bib Fortuna, his major domo, saying, look, I can get you something that'll help pay off the debts, which is basically the Rebel communication. So he's actually going to deliver them the droid. He's actually going to deliver them the old droid, which they have in storage. They don't need it anymore because C-3PO has the codes. So there you go. That is the story for Star Wars issue number 11. I thought this was going to be the closing of this little mini arc, but maybe this isn't. It doesn't look like that. But I want to know, where the heck is Luke Skywalker? Because last we've seen, he had a yellow lightsaber. He's being really badass, and it seems like the last several months we haven't really seen or heard much of Luke. So I'm very curious to see what he's doing and if he is going to save the day. Oh, because by the way, Kes Dameron's wife and Poe Dameron's mother, Shar Bay, has been captured by the Star Destroyer. She got left behind because her ship got destroyed. So now Kes Dameron thinks that she's dead. But then the rebels also have codes and ways of hunting this ship that Commander Zara is on. So now, the hunted become the hunters, and now they're going to go after Commander Zara, finally, after that villain has been built up for the last couple months. So there you go. That is the story for Star Wars issue number 11. Finally, this week, we have issue number 3 of Star Wars Adventures. There you go. We finally got this issue. It was delayed and delayed and delayed, and that's just unfortunately the nature of IDW. A lot of their comics get pushed back from time to time. But as always, we have 2 stories in this one. The first one we're talking about is just simply called Life Day. Life Day, yes, this issue was supposed to come out back in November when Life Day actually is, but we got it nonetheless. And this is a really cool story that I wasn't expecting, because we actually have another story in canon about Qui Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi in the early days, and they go to Kashyyyk and they're learning about Life Day, and one of Qui-Gon's old buddies that apparently saved his life 2 times invited him to Life Day. So there's this communication between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan about, hey, what the Force is, and comparing it to Life Day, where Life Day is all about the families and the links between family bonds and all that sort of thing. And Obi-Wan's like, hey, that's a lot like the Force, with the the cosmic the Force and the living Force and all that good stuff. Anytime I get more Qui-Gon Jinn wisdom and knowledge, I love it. So I got to see more of this. We had that awesome novel by Claudia Gray, Master and Apprentice. I want to see a sequel to that or something in that nature. But anyway, of course, things do not go cheery and bright in the holiday of Life Day, because then the Trandoshans think it's a good time to raid the Kashyyyk and get the Wookiees, since they're all gathered up for this holiday. And even Qui-Gon gets snatched up, and it's up to Obi-Wan to free him. But we definitely get to see a lot of cool action with some Force abilities, Force pushing, seeing those Jedi in action, and it's just a lot of fun, and it is a story that will be continued. So looking forward to issue number 4, which I actually think will be out later this month. So now they're doubling down on these IDW adventure comics since they've been delayed so many times. And the last little story inside the Star Wars Adventures issue number 3 is called The Hostage, and this one deals with Maul. And Maul purposely puts himself in harm's way to get captured by this crime syndicate. And well, it turns out that he actually wanted to just completely destroy the crime syndicate from the inside out, because they have a very fortified, well fortified palace that the only way he could actually take in from the inside out was to get captured, specifically to then just jump out using his Force abilities and just crush all of that scum. And he does that brilliantly, letting in Savage Opress, his brother, and they completely just cross off the map of this different crime syndicate that we never heard of, and that's because they literally eradicated them. So this issue, or this little story here, really just shows you just the power of Maul. He's just so cunning with his abilities, and nobody can really stop him. He's just that good, and he knows what he's doing with the Shadow Collective, and this is obviously set during the Clone Wars, so it's nice getting another story about that. But all in all, I was very impressed by this issue of Star Wars Adventures issue number 3. It's clearly showing that they are going for that the older target audience. With, you know, before it was like young readers, now it's probably more like young adult comic books, if that makes any sense. I mean, there's a lot of killing. There's a lot more narrative as far as like learning about the Force with Qui Gon and Obi-Wan. So yeah, I hope they keep this up because I'm really invested, especially with this Qui Gon and Obi-Wan story. I need more of that. I would just love an ongoing series about that over and over and over again, kind of like the Obi-Wan and Anakin series. But that is finally going to do it for my reviews for this week. What'd you guys think about all these comics? Let's talk about them all in that comment section down below. If you're new to the channel and like Star Wars, you might want to go ahead and subscribe to this channel because I talk about it a heck of a lot, especially with these comics. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe. That is going to do it for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always.
Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.